So hi, welcome to Binge Buddies, Bad Days in Haddonfield. And your host always Bryan Dressel. With me, as always, is Matt, Zombie Dog, Babyface, Dykes.
Think I preferred sloppy nuts.
That tracks.
Oh, these next two I almost feel bad about, but then again I don't. So we also have Joel, Tater Tot, DeWitte.
You know, I don't know how I feel about that.
Tater Tot?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be called Tater Tot, but
Too
like
late.
like a young
Yeah, Joel will take on Tater Tot like Matt did with Zombie Dog. It's just gonna stick. But we also have,
man.
oh boy, Ryan, I mean nothing by this, but we have Ryan Tootsie Pop Lootens.
How did you guys get my high school nickname? I like it.
Yeah, Tootsie Pop. There's
How
a
many
lot of ways
licks?
you could take that name.
How
I'm not
many
going to take
licks?
him any of those ways.
I'm taking them. How many licks?
We'll go with a 3.
Technically, it's
For
two in
each
a
of
fight.
us.
Not too far off.
Okay, so I'm just diving right into this fucking thing this week. So we are here talking about Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills I have been famously shitting on since we started this podcast. It's been up there with Halloween 2, but with Rob Zombie as ones that I was least excited to rewatch. I will say both of those rewatches have gone better. Much better than I expected them to. I still don't like either movie, but I did not hate them nearly as much as I did in my first rewatch. That being said, I think this movie's pretty shit, and I think it's largely in part due to the dialogue and the pacing. It just kind of ruins this movie, but that's where I land on it. What about you guys?
I mean, for me, it's definitely a movie. I took it for what it was when I saw it in the theater. Again, like I said in the last podcast, this was the first movie I saw without my mom for Halloween. And I was like, my mom would like it just because of the killing. That's it. Like that's how I take it. Like this really allows Michael to go off on a murder rampage, and I'm not gonna nitpick, but you really could destroy this movie. But that's my take. I enjoyed it for what it was, which is a movie about killing.
Sure, yeah. Matt, what about you?
I just
Or the
saw
polar
it as,
opposite of Ryan.
why can they never do a good follow-up to the good films? Like literally, they can never do a good one. And why are the follow-ups always taking place in a fucking hospital?
And why do the follow-ups always have like this weirdest of what fucking time is it? Like what time is it?
Yes.
Maybe they're contractually obligated that the second one has to be in a food. If you ever do a Halloween 2, has to be in a hospital.
Hospital and time makes no sense.
Right.
Those are the rules. Joel, what about you?
I do not most of the people in this movie. Not a good movie.
You were breaking up through all that. I'm barely hearing you. I'm just getting the little words.
That
here
just
and there.
wasn't
I thought
me.
that was just me.
Yeah, I'm
I
like,
thought it was my internet.
yeah, I
All
got
right.
like,
All sorts of licks, and it's
I-
like I
I heard
Like
bad
this
movie. And that's all we
people.
need.
I don't people this movie.
Bad.
There are very few likable people in this movie, which is what makes it really hard to enjoy this movie. That coupled with they try to put so many ideas into this movie about what to focus on thematically that it wasn't the most offensively bad one, but it is one of the most boring experiences I've had watching these.
this is the only movie that I was unable to finish in one sitting. I had to walk away. Like I got about halfway through where the cop from the last movie has been stabbed, and now he's in the bed next to Lori, and they're talking about like their unrequited love of like whatever. And I'm just listening to him just drone on and on and on. I'm like, I can go to bed. I'm going to bed. Like I've seen this. I'll pick it up tomorrow.
Which is insane, Joe, because Will Patton's a really fucking good actor.
He is.
Mhm.
But in this, he just genuinely looks fed up.
Yeah. This really feels like one of those movies that had like a very good idea on paper, and then it wasn't executed very well. Because I don't think the approach of like, let's discuss mob mentality in the face of tragedy is a bad approach to a movie, especially a bad approach to like a horror movie. It actually kind of works. And then putting the fuck is his name? Anthony
Anthony Michael Hall.
Thank you.
Doyle.
It's Tommy Doyle. Like, he did a great job in this movie. Like, he's an asshole and he creates all of the problems. And like, they really try to frame him as the hero. And it's like, oh no, he is the instigator. Most of this would be fine if he just shut the hell up and went away. But he doesn't do that. He just keeps making it worse and worse and worse. And I like all of that. It works. It's just,
He reminded me of it reminded me of like all the assholes you started seeing video clips of after the Brexit vote came, like the people going up to black people, Chinese people, like anyone who's not white, basically going, oh, we voted for Brexit, you can get out of our country now, and all this shit. Like, it just, that's kind of like what it's like, really. He's like, oh yeah, well, you know, Michael's around, like, well, I'm going to go out and do something about it now that we know that he's here. And it's that kind of like, what the fuck, why are you doing this?
Luckily, I didn't get a racist bend from him like you were receiving with the Brexit stuff, but otherwise, yes, I see exactly what you mean.
It's kind of like, you know, it's not so much like racist. It's just kind of like, this decision's been made. Now I'm going to be like, you know, me guy on the street. I've had my say, and now I'm going to be the one to do something about it. It's like, yeah, but you're not equipped to. So
I can see what they're trying to do with this character, because it's like, okay, he's also had the trauma too, and then he goes to this bar every Halloween and just gets shit faced, and so, you know,
he's a major buzzkill.
Right?
Yeah,
you know,
that speech he gives, I'm there like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
It's a talent show. What's your talent? Sucking the air out of rooms?
It's like,
Very,
and now we
very
have Tommy
talented.
Doyle.
it just seems very misplaced.
On
Like,
this night,
he gives a very good speech in this bar that sucks the air because he's just complete buzzkill and very good with words, and then you have him start a riot with 3 words that we'll get to later.
Yeah.
Why is like the nurse who in this timeline has never been to Haddonfield? Why is she hanging on with this little group of the kids from the first film?
Because she survived in the original Halloween.
Yeah, she survived. Yeah, I mean, she
Yeah,
wasn't
got
in
attacked
Haddonfield,
in the
but
car.
she survived an attack by him.
So then she starts hanging out with these people about what, 30 years her junior, because
Like a
they were.
support group.
Yeah, I get it. Like, that's fine. That's one of those, like,
That-
we
I
went
can-
through something.
I can suspend disbelief.
Yeah.
It's shared trauma.
Yeah,
It's just a bit weird though. Like,
They all could. You don't know if Loomis was there either. Loomis very well could have been getting shit canned with them, and then, you know, he died, and so Marion decided to keep drinking with him.
Yeah, like that one is. I see what you mean, Matt, but that one, I'm willing to make the leap with the filmmakers on that one of like, yeah, anyone who survived the first one, they're gonna meet in a bar once a year to have a drink. Like that, I'm okay with that one.
Yeah.
but if that was the case, like, surely we could have had one line, just one little line of, oh, is Laurie not coming this year? Like, you know, because I imagine that, like, you know, given
Laurie
this-
would
the
never
setup.
show up a single year. Like the way they wrote that character, she's never
Yep.
coming.
No,
I
would-
there
suppose.
might be
rather
like an
wallow.
open invite, but yeah.
she would rather wallow in her alcoholism than be that public face, because it'd just be, those faces would just bring the trauma more and trigger her more.
Yeah.
Anytime
Yeah,
we enter
true.
a room and Lori's not there, we should be asking, "Where's Lori?"
Or in this case, for this entire fucking film.
There's so many like kind of
No.
when we're looking at like this is like Halloween 2, as it were.
Yeah.
Like for comparisons between the first Halloween 2 and this Halloween 2 as well, it's like Laurie is in a hospital bed for most of this film, as she is in Halloween 2 as well. Like, you know, it's very interesting that kind of, you know, you're doing a brand new sort of like series of films here. Don't start to replicate a lot of the same shit that's already happened in the sequel.
Yeah. Well, let's dial back to the beginning of this, because we're getting to the stuff they did the same. The movie starts extremely differently. The movie starts.
I love the opening.
Yeah.
It's a strong start. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like both the opening, like the 70s stuff of like finding out how Lonnie was actually not attacked, but had an interaction with Michael Myers that night, which I'm okay with.
Yep.
I was talking just about the firefighters, like the Michael versus the firefighters. Like, it's so dumb. It is so insanely dumb, but awesome. Like, it's just these guys are getting wrecked. Like, I'm okay watching this. Like, yeah, he's a 70-year-old guy who's been shot a number of times, had half his hand blown off, been stabbed a couple times, and he just wrecks house. It's like,
still able to grab a jaws of life saw and
I was gonna say, has his fingers grown back?
No, he's fine. He's just making it work. Like, I dig all of it. Like, it's just so much fun. Like, just like, holy shit, this guy has had it. He is done, like, pulling punches. And I don't think he was really pulling punches before, but my God, those firefighters. And then, like, when the cops show up later and they have a goddamn massacre, I just had, maybe because Toby Huss was in the last movie, but I just had the Venture Brothers Andy Warhol guy go, yeah, in the back of my head. It's just perfect. But I really like the way this thing kicks off. Both the 70s, like, old footage, which looks a little odd, like the post rendering didn't fully work for me to try to make it look like the 70s. It's more of like,
especially the mask.
Yeah, the mask looked odd. All of it just looks a little off, but I get it. Like, it's not enough to take me out of the movie. It's enough to go like, oh, it's supposed to be the 70s. Okay, I can make that leap.
It was good. I mean, I just think that it was a great way to set the tone. The guy that they got to play Donald Pleasance lookalike was believable. I think they just needed to do it to set the tone. It does a lot to set the character for Hawkins, but they leave it alone. Like, they have this great buildup and they never touch it again.
Yeah, I think that the Donald Pleasance lookalike looks good from afar.
Yeah.
But later on in the film, when you get more close up, you're like, oh, I can see the seams in the in the beard that they've glued to him, and I can see the hair piece thing, and the voice. I'm sorry, I know you said that it's better than last week, but still, that is not Donald Pleasance's voice. No, it's like, but it's also, I swear he sounds Scottish at one point. It's like it's all over the place.
This is, I mean,
Michael Clegane. I take it, Matt Berry. I might be expecting to go back.
I'm gonna,
Matt Berry playing Donald Pleasance. I am so in for that Halloween remake. He's a killer. You're evil. Like, oh, it's so good.
Well, and like you're watching that beginning scene when the actor is doing his best not to have his face seen, so he's doing a lot of head turning.
Yeah,
like, is this guy gonna stroke out? Like, what is happening?
He's killed again.
You think David Schwartz like, we want to suspend disbelief and not have people get a very good look at you, so turn your head and body a whole lot. That was his direction.
Yeah, and it worked flawlessly.
Yeah. Either way, I thought it was great for building up, their stories. It explored Lonnie's, and to that credit, that paid off. Hawkins did not.
Yeah, the Lonnie stuff all pays off. Like, it's not like they made Lonnie a character, which I appreciate. Whereas like all fucking Halloween movies, for some reason, have this like, we need to mention Ben Tramer at some point. Like, we need to just throw his name in there because one person said his name in an offhand comment in the first movie, and this one falls guilty of that too. So it's like, were you gonna make him a character or not? I liked him better when he got flattened by Donald Pleasance.
No, flattened because of Donald Pleasance.
But like, beyond that, like, I just don't care about Ben Tramer. But like, and Lonnie, I didn't really care about either. But then they made me care about him here. Like, they made him a father. They gave his son a character. Like, they made him work. And like, this was how you do that, not the Ben Tramer like just lip service.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I do.
The Lonnie stuff was really good because that the Lonnie that we know from the first one as well, being a bit of a bully, you can kind of see someone like that growing up to be this kind of guy as well.
Yeah.
And I like what they did with that, and like you said, it made him a more complete character, and it's actually someone who we've seen. It's I think, is it maybe like a little joke with Halloween films that like you talk about Ben Tramer, you don't see Ben Tramer
unless you see him get fucking murdered.
Even then, you didn't see him.
He's wearing a mask.
He's wearing a mask, so it's like
But there is something kind of nice about that. Like, it does feel like that. Like, this is how you kind of build out these characters. And again, one of the only things that dialogue wise that I think works in this movie is they have that nod to with him and Tommy, where it's like, oh yeah, we grew up together. I used to pick on him an awful lot, and now we're buds. I'm like, in those small towns, those relationships do often grow like that. Like we hated each other as kids, but we never left each other's like field of view. Fuck it, we're friends now. Like, because we went through all that shit together, and like that, it's believable and it works.
I think it's what's really believable as well with that is they both have this shared experience as well of this, like, you know, they both came face to face with Michael Myers on that night, and they survived. And I think that would sort of, you know, it's believable that, like, you know, these kids would grow a bond together because they'd have someone that they can talk about their trauma to, because, you know, back in the 70s, you know, trauma wasn't a thing apparently.
And then, like, almost worse for Lonnie is like no one was there to witness his. So everyone just has to take him on face value that this actually happened. Like, he could have been like, boy who cried wolf. Like, oh yeah, but like, we know Tommy had this experience. We know Laurie did. You're just telling us that he ran into you on the sidewalk.
You have to remember that's his second time running into him.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The first time happened then. So, or in the original Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
After he trained Tommy.
School. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he'd bumped into him twice, like, so there's definitely something there, and like they don't really do anything with that plot line, but it is kind of interesting. Like I do appreciate, like, it's funny now talking about it. I wouldn't have thought about it when I was watching it, but the Lonnie stuff for me is really the best stuff in this movie, which is weird. Like, that's not the character that you'd expect to like go in and like, oh, that worked, but it did. But I do like, once the movie gets going, like once Michael's like off the leash and off murdering, like it really does cook. Like, it just moves for
is that your way to kind of, you know, segue into a burning house cooking?
Burning house. And then was how early does that couple get just fucking destroyed?
Right after,
like pretty much right after, right?
Yeah,
it's pretty much just after when they arrive in the hospital.
Yeah, I was gonna say they take her to the hospital.
And that weird mortician's just like for no reason starts yelling at Karen to get out. Yeah. Like, you can't be in here. You can't be in here. All right, fucking hell, man, calm down. Jesus.
Yeah, because
your cereal.
So it's before we get to like the Tommy stuff. We got to talk about that couple that gets murdered, because that is, for my money, far and away the most brutal shit in this movie.
It's mean as well. Yeah. It's just fucking mean.
And it just comes out of nowhere. Of like, we don't know who these people are. All we know is that they live near Laurie just because they have lines like that. And then like, they have the right response to seeing Michael, which is just see him, fucking turn around and run and yell, call the cops. And like just even the line is good. Like, what does he want? Who gives a shit? Call the cops.
And you know, it goes to show like they're just cannon fodder. You know, this is the Michael Caine, and they explain it by cutting out the scene of why he's there, because this was supposed to be Nick Castle's scene, but it was cut out of the original film. But Nick Castle goes in there as Michael to bandage his hand. He uses their medical supplies, and then that's why he kills them, is just because they happen to come upon him and he's really pissed off. So I think just if you would have had the context in there that this is a stop that he can look for medical supplies, cool. But they're just like, oh, let me fly my drone into the bathroom. Oh, there's Michael standing there.
Yeah, so it just doesn't, the deleted scene would have worked, but I get they don't want to make him look like somebody who would bandage himself. Like, I understand that note. I don't agree with it, but I get why that note exists.
Agreed.
But at the same time, it just takes this scene and just makes it, like Matt said, it's mean. Like, Michael's not just killing, like he's torturing, which doesn't really feel like Michael to me. I know Ryan's more of our Michael expert, but
the fact that the wife lived makes this mean. Michael's not about pain or putting people through torture. He's about murder, and he does that to the husband. Like, he slams his head and then he proceeds to use him as the human pincushion. While the wife is sitting there bleeding into this fluorescent tube, which she lives because we see her in the next film.
Yeah.
So to me, like, that's the worst thing. Like, she is a victim that escaped. So her trauma, you know, we talk about this idea of trauma. She's the one, almost like the new Laurie, you know, because she's got the wound and can't speak or do anything for herself now because of her encounter with Michael.
Yeah, and her encounter is just so like uncharacteristically brutal. Michael walks by a rack of knives and he's like, no, I'm gonna use this light bulb to just shatter into your neck. It's just like,
I don't like this fluorescent light.
Yeah, it just
doesn't do well for my mood.
usually what I like about Michael is that he's like, what is the quickest path to you no longer being alive? I'm taking that path. And this is like the one time he really deviates from that. And it feels odd, and it feels, like we said, kind of mean. Like it just doesn't fit for me with like all of the Michael that we've experienced so far doing this show.
It feels like some doesn't even make any sense. They're not that strong.
No.
Like, and the shit that's in them things as well. You don't want to break one of those things and then breathe, because it's really toxic stuff. And I don't get like the fluorescent light thing. It kind of feels like, oh, well, he stabbed a lot of people with knives. What else can we use? And it's like, oh, I don't know, like a light bulb or something.
Yeah.
It feels like somebody looking for a new clever way to kill somebody.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, because Michael's kills are usually very functional. Knife, crowbar, head to the wall.
But even then,
it's more of a Jason kill.
She doesn't die because of this fluorescent bulb. So clearly they missed the mark on it.
Now, I mean, I will say prior movies, they have had a few times where they had a presumed kill, but then they ended up okay. I think the Rob Zombie one had at least one, right?
Annie.
Annie was dead.
Yeah. So it's not unheard of for this series, but I agree. If there's sort of a profile of Michael Myers, I don't think it suits that.
Yeah, and I feel like we shouldn't be leaning to the Rob Zombie stuff for the Michael Myers profile, because that's
that's the Rob Zombie Michael Myers. It's like kind of like, it's like the cousin we don't speak to.
Yeah, it's like, we acknowledge your family. That's the end of that. But I do like I do enjoy parts of the mob mentality. I don't like it all. I don't like it when it's in the hospital, but I do like the let's tool up and get into a car and go find Michael, like, as a town, because that's something this franchise already kind of flirted with. Like, that's where we get the Ryan's favorite line of the shit, Earl.
Yeah.
And we kind of have that back here. Like, I like that the old nurse and then the doctor couple that was trying to make fun of these people, like, no, we were wrong. Like, we need to help. Like, this is fucked up. Like, I like they'll go piling into a car with Lindsay from the original movies. Like, I like all that stuff. I wish it ended better. Like, I wish it was used better than it is. But it is kind of like a fun, like, I think it probably itching on like why I dislike the movie so much is like the setups in this movie are great. The executions are terrible.
Well, and that's
exactly
the setups that seem to be there to, like, oh yeah, it was going to set this up as a big thing, and then it's just like, nah, we'll just set it up for them to be cannon fodder. That's literally what it is, and it's just kind of like you're just bringing these characters from the original films back just to kill them.
We literally can talk about the two scenes that deal with this mob mentality, because that's really what this movie is.
Yeah.
If it's not in the hospital, you've got the car mob in terms of Lindsay, Marion, and the two people in the hospital costumes, and then you've got the hospital mob scene where the mom sees Oscar's dying or dead body after she's been looking for him. I think the stuff in the hospital is absolute dog shit. That scene, while with them going to the playground, I liked it.
Yeah,
because you get these kids who interacted with Big John and Little John, which I'm sure we'll talk about those two because they are a fan favorite when we talk about the ending and how, because they're living in the Myers house.
Yep.
But you know that these kids have been messing with Michael, and one of them is dead because Michael's holding that orange mask and it's bloody and his knife is bloody. So you know these two kids who are assholes trick-or-treating are going to die. But then you see these legacy characters battle Michael, and only one escapes. And I think that's a good scene. And then the mob, unfortunately, they go after someone that was on the bus with Michael, the guy holding in the umbrella in the first movie, Tivoli or whatever he is, and I think that it's, you can set up a good scene with some good kills, or you can be lazy and do a hospital scene. I'll let you guys talk.
Well, I don't disagree. Like, I like the stuff with the kids. I like that, David Gordon Green's clearly a fan of Halloween 3. Like, that's been clear in both the last movie and now this movie, because if you didn't catch it last time, you definitely catch it this time. These are the masks. Like, they make it very, very clear. But I do like the Lindsay approach. I like that Lindsay was a survivor the first time because she ran and hid, and she's a survivor this time because she ran and hid.
hid.
I think that's really cool. But then we also have like, this is so great. This is working. Oh, the nurse shot herself in the head. Like, it's just like this.
Because Michael kicked the door.
Like,
That was
it's just
Yeah.
like,
that's my favorite.
this
kill.
sequence that's working, and then it just turns Looney Tunes for a moment. And it's like, I both like it, and I'm also like, what the, come on. Like,
We
But the
stopped
doc-
and rewound that because I laughed so hard and Kelly looked away at it.
But the doctor kill is classic Michael. He's trying to strangle him with the stethoscope, and then Michael just turns and looks at him like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Here's
yeah. Yeah.
like that was good.
The
Yeah.
knife through the eye as well. Like I always, for some reason, it always made me think of Total Recall, and I think it's because that doesn't happen in Total Recall. I think it's the animatronic head, because
Yeah.
there's
Oh,
something
sure.
about it that seems very, very much like that sort of like late 80s, early 90s kind of animatronic. Like, oh, this is gonna be really gory because we've got this basically this robot, not so much robot, but we've got this latex head that we're going to be able to properly stab a knife through, and it's going to like, you know, the hands are going to start twitching and, you know, stuff like that. And it just, there's something like really kind of off-putting about that, because it's like, oh, you can actually tell that's something physical that's actually been stabbed through there, and it does look like that guy as well, especially with the twitching and stuff like that. It's not like, you know, when you watch something like, say, Walking Dead, where you're like, well, that's clearly just a CGI knife. Like, I can tell that that's not a real knife that's gone through there, because they didn't feel like any sort of pain. And, you know, going through the eye as well, it's like, you know, he's not gone through the skull, which again, I like that, because the eye is like you were saying, Ryan, the quickest route to kill. Like, you know, it's the quickest and easiest way to penetrate someone's head, go through the eyeball, because it's nice and soft and gooey.
It gives weight or heft to the action itself, right?
Yeah.
Because I assume if you're using CG, like, you have to emulate that physical motion and try to make that weight inherent. Whereas if you're actually stabbing something, you're going to feel the resistance of the knife into the head and then pulling out. And then I think I'm sounding like a serial killer right now. to be honest,
Tell us
but-
more, Joel. I've
don't
got
worry.
the FBI on the line.
You both are.
You know, and if we're gonna just dissect every death in that scene, because it's clearly the better scene than the hospital scene that I'm sure we're about to talk about.
Oh, yeah, that's where we're moving right next. Yeah.
But like Marion's death, like I like that
Poor
characterization of her, because it's almost reminiscent of the first Halloween. Michael crawling up the back of it and then grabbing her hair, but she's taking a stand, and she wanted to shoot him in the name of Loomis. Didn't really work out in her favor, but like, you know, she went out swinging, and I
She pissed away all over ammo, shooting the bloody windows out to make it easier for Michael to get in.
I give David Gordon Green credit for that death, because that was warranted. Like, she went out swinging, and that felt justified.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, most people who die in this movie go out swinging. It's just that most of the people die in this movie. The majority of them.
Not the kids, but they just got what they deserve.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, some of them go out literally swinging.
With a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Bar.
Poor Tommy. Poor Tommy. He was an idiot. He got there himself. Anyhow,
I do like the, like, just going back to the nurse who's actually a doctor shooting herself in the head, like the conversation she has with her husband just before then of like, oh, why do they even give you a gun? You never even shot the shit. Give me this shit. I know how to use this shit. And then it's like,
and then she
ends up shooting, like, because I think didn't she say you end up shooting yourself or something?
Yeah.
To him, and then that's how she dies. And correct me if I'm wrong, is that the first time that Michael's ever sort of quote unquote killed someone by shooting them? I know he doesn't actually shoot them.
He just kicks the door. He was just trying to stop her so he could get a better.
I don't recall him.
Bullet.
I don't recall him using a gun in the past. But
no, there is that, like, they fake out with a gun at one point, but he does use a gun to stab someone.
Yeah, he stabs someone with a gun. But I think, like, what I mean is, like, is this the first time that Michael has killed someone by a bullet, basically?
I refuse to give him the credit for that kill, because she really shoots herself in the head.
He was just trying to get out of the car, so he's trying to buy time. So he kicks the door. He had zero thought that it was going to recoil.
Yeah. When Michael gets out of that car, if he was much of a speaking guy, he'd go, "Oh, that's a freebie." Like,
I just like that the doctor couple died, because in the one take from the previous film, they're in the car getting ready before he goes to kill a lady in the house. So I thought that was, he finally got them.
Yeah, that is kind of it's a cool little nod.
Poetic justice.
Yeah. So somewhere in this mix, I forget when they've been introduced. We don't do a ton with these guys, but I really do like these guys. We'll get back to them after the hospital, but we have been introduced to Big John and Little John. These are the two guys who live in the current or the old Michael Myers house, and they like to use that to scare kids. They're very fun characters, and I wish they did more. And we'll get back to them in just a minute. But I wanted to say at least we have been introduced to them, and they are. I understand why they're fan favorites. They are very fun characters. I wish they were in this movie more.
I think
Yeah, and
the
I'm
best
glad they
thing
got
about
the
this
screen
film-
time because it introduced those shithead kids. But I mean,
Yeah.
you got more time with them before the kids came knocking on the door, before they met Michael in the playground.
Yeah. So I'm glad they were smart enough to keep those scenes in this movie. If they're willing to cut out other ones, I'm glad they kept these.
Right.
But now we're moving to the hospital. And the hospital, I think, is, if you were along for the ride with this movie, I think if it was going to bump you, this would be your last straw. This was for me. Like, when I was watching this the first time, like, this is when I was out. And it's primarily when the hospital goes nuts and they kill the other escaped patient, or they get the other escaped patient to kill himself. And it's all because the movie has set itself up poorly. And I don't mean that to sound as insulting as it's coming across, but when they're in the bar earlier in the movie, they have the news report on the screen of Michael Myers and this other schmuck escaped, and they see both their mugshots on the TV screen. Michael killed a few people in the 70s, and he wore a mask for all of about 5 hours. Then he's had the mask off ever since. His face would have been seen. They would know what he looks like. He's tall as shit. He's built like a fucking brick house. He is going to murder people. And the idea here is the mob mentality goes so crazy that they don't care what mental patient it is. They just find one and they're like, that must be him. Go kill him. It just does not work for me at all. And then on top of that, you have the drumming of the evil dies tonight, because they have to have that fucking phrase in this movie, which we were going to have a whole joke with this episode, but we ran out of time for that to work. I apologize. Thanks for agreeing to do it, Brock. I'm sorry it didn't work out. But you have that constant drumming of the evil dies tonight, which is a very annoying thing throughout this back half of the movie. And then the stupidity of the scene on top of it. And it breaks any enjoyment I was having in this movie. And it never really comes back around.
There's so much stupid shit that happens in this hospital scene. And this is me trash talking a movie I try to like, this is where the directors thought that they were containing a dumpster fire, but it's just full on combustion at this point, because so many stupid things happen in quick succession that there's zero explanation. Allison rekindling her love with Cameron, who is Lonnie's son, deciding that they're going to go off and join the mob mentality, get guns and go shoot things. There's Lee Brackett, who's like, I want to avenge Annie. Like, zero development there. Like, you just get a glimpse of him and then he's all in. And then you've got
the cop from the first movie. There he is.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just like,
oh, he's joining the mob. That's the last we see of him until he is at the very end of the film. And then you've got, evil dies tonight, and just this massive, let's go kill probably the sweetest insane person ever.
yeah.
And he just, he's trying to escape because he has no idea what's going on, because he is mentally unstable. He doesn't kill himself. He's trying to escape. So he tries to go out a window and falls to his death. And people are horrified at that. What did you expect was going to happen when you chased someone who is not mentally stable, but completely genteel, has no idea what's going on?
Yeah. Also, Michael Myers is famously, the entire last movie talked about this, famously mute.
Yes.
And this guy's running around saying, help me. There's your first fucking clue.
Right. So
and like your first fucking clue as well is the first words that Michael Myers says is not going to be help me.
Yeah.
As well. Like, even if he was speaking, he's not going to be saying help me.
And if
Rob Zombie was closer with die.
Yeah, exactly. And the mob mentality stuff is so stupid, because they know that Michael Myers is not in the what do you want to call basically the mental hospital outfit.
Yeah,
that's the word. Like, he's he's got the mask back. He's got overalls on now. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
But to me, like, there's no justification either. Like, when Lonnie is sitting here actually figuring out where Michael is going, there's no call. There's no scene that really ties that together. Because at the end, they're just there. They're just there setting the trap. And to me, it's just like, okay, I believe it was Allison calls mom, and that's what gets everybody there. It's very sloppy how they kind of just threw this all together.
Well, it's that there's that one scene with Allison and Laurie and I forget his name, the actor who was Hawkins, and they had that whole spiel about, oh, Michael doesn't give a shit about you. Did you not understand? No, he doesn't care about you at all. Like there's actually nothing between you. You just happen to be in his way.
Yeah,
he's probably going home. That's where he was going last time. And then everyone's like, all right, to the house. And it's like there's no connective tissue between besides him saying that to Laurie and Allison. But then I guess that's supposed to work. And not to mention, when it comes to like stupid Halloween storylines, I rank Michael doesn't give a fuck about Laurie. I hate that more than it being her brother. Like the whole, like there should be something there. The fact that there's nothing is like, you're ruining everything here. Like, why would that, like, I get what you're trying to do, and you're making it more about Laurie's hatred of Michael than Michael's indifference to her. Like, there's definitely something you're trying to do there, but it's like, this is not what I want at all.
You're trying to make Michael this unstoppable force like John Carpenter had originally planned. And, you know, he was fixated on Laurie in the first one because he went to this house. And the only reason why he was fixated again by Laurie is because Sartan's stupid attempt at psychology, and it just doesn't work.
And like, I get that. I understand what they're trying to do. And it's that whole thing of like, is this a bad movie or just not a movie I want? I'm not sure. But either way, it doesn't work for me. Like the showdown of Michael and Laurie, you need there to be something there, or why do I give a fuck about Halloween Ends? Like,
even if you don't care about the familial aspect of it, it would make more sense if it was just a matter of tying up loose ends.
Yeah.
Like this just nagging thing that survived you too many times, and you can't rest until you've taken care of it. I agree.
That's already kind of there with Michael Myers. Like,
right.
Like you take the podcasters in the last movie, all they did was show up and show him a mask, and he starts stalking them and then eventually kills them because he crossed their path. That would make sense for Laurie to have been the ultimate path crosser. Like, he just can't quite kill her. There's enough there for me to work with it.
Exactly.
The hospital stuff, a lot of that hospital stuff as well, with the Evil Dies Tonight, all that stuff, it just feels like padding. It's like they wrote the script and like, oh, we've only got like an hour's worth of stuff here. What should we do? Oh, let's do a big stupid scene in the hospital where everyone turned into like, you know, a raving lunatic mob, and you know, because again the other mental patient kind of just comes out of nowhere as well. Again, sort of like, you know, there's no, like, there was a lot more of them in the road in the first one, and you know, there's not, if I remember rightly, in the first one, there's no mention of another one being loose or something.
No, not that I remember. No.
And it's just kind of like, it comes out of nowhere. So it does just feel like during the scripting phase, they're a bit like, we need something more. Oh, well, let's just, and the Evil Dies Tonight. I'm sorry, that's such a stupid thing, because they keep talking about like Michael Myers is evil, but again, we're talking about someone who killed 4 people 40 years ago. Like,
but he killed like 40 people 3 hours ago, so he's definitely evil.
Yeah, but it's just like, you know, this sort of Evil Dies Tonight thing. They're talking about it like it's been this thing that's been looming over their heads.
Yeah.
For all time. It's, you know, it doesn't make any sense. Like that's what really annoys me, is that like it's like they're trying to blame all the ills of the world on Michael Myers. No, he's just a fucking serial killer. Or spree killer. He's not even a serial killer.
One of the real umbrages I have with this movie, I know that there's a terminology, A plot, B plot with television. Feels like there's too many A plots.
Yeah.
There's too many A plots, too many main characters to follow, and all of their story development is undercooked because of it. And that mixed with some of the main characters me just not liking, it just taints this whole thing for me.
Yeah,
I think it's more like going that sort of like the idea of the A plot, B plot on television. I think it's all B plot. Like,
I mean, it's either all A or all B, but either way, it's all a problem.
Yeah, but I mean, what I mean by that is it doesn't. A lot of this stuff doesn't feel like a main plot. It all feels like just kind of like subplot.
Mm-hmm.
There doesn't seem to be a main plot in this film.
Right.
Apart
No,
from
it's
Michael
just
kills
survive
people.
the night is like really all you get. And, like, there's a part of me that's fine with that. There's another part that's like, but we were promised more with the last movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, but either way, we should start moving on to kind of nearing the end of this. So, like, Michael goes home, and that's where he meets poor Big John, Little John. Where, like, I really like these characters. I like their relationship. I think they have like a very kind of fun relationship where it's two guys who got together who happen to have the same first name and they give themselves the nicknames of Big John and Little John.
Mhm.
I think that's adorable. Like, I would love to hang out with these guys. They seem really cool. I love that they're like, what do you want to do tonight? I just want to get stoned and watch TV. Like, they're very relatable dudes. And I enjoy how when they're getting fucked with on Halloween night, the response isn't like, this is annoying or like, this is this. It's like, do you know whose house you're fucking with? And like, I love that they just own the fact they live in Michael Myers' house. All of it just kind of like, it's a needed breath of fresh air in a movie that really annoys me. All the stuff with them is like, oh, this is good. But I do have to admit, once Michael shows up, first when he shows up, the moment from Little John when he turns around and goes, Big John, there's someone in our house, is fucking great. Like, he sells that line. You feel the dread. You have that moment of like, should we call the cops? Should we deal with this ourselves? Well, Big John's Big John. He can handle this. Like,
what I like about that is it's there's someone in our house and it's not a child.
Yeah.
I love that sort of like that addition to it because they've just had the kids fucking with them and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally agree. And that's why I get so disappointed with this scene is like, it's so great. And then Big John gets taken out so fast. Like, he doesn't even put up a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally one of those things where it's just like, man.
And it's so like, gruesome as well. And again, it's that sort of that meanness of it. And I think, like, the way I look at this film is, I know there's worse films in the Halloween series, but at least those ones were kind of fun. Like this one doesn't really feel fun.
No, and it could have been.
It just feels mean.
This stuff with Big John and Little John easily could have been the fun stuff in this movie. Like, this should have been like the shining like light in this thing, but instead we get an armpit stab and that's it. And then at least Michael's really nice with their bodies. He puts them in a very loving pose. Like, he hasn't done that with fucking anyone else. But at least with Big John, Little John, he's like, they loved each other.
In the uncut version, because remind me here, do you see the eyes gouge out?
Yeah, in the version I saw, you see the eyes
pop out. Okay, so like that's like probably one of the more gruesome things is like, that's why I don't think we see Little John's death. You just see Big John, and I think that's kind of an alliteration. Like, if you can take down the big one, the little one's going to be a lot easier. So,
but the little one also has, like, to me, one of the best lines in the movie where it's just like that. We've been joking about this for years, and now it actually happened. Michael, you came home. Like, it's so like, I'm fucked. Like, it's just a great moment. Like, I wish there was more of that in this movie. Just more of them in this movie would have been great.
Right. I really liked as well that, like, Big John, when he gets the knife, it's like, I got this knife, and it's like, it's a little knife, and then Little John's like, I've got this knife, and it's a big knife, and it's kind of like, it's like Big John has a little knife. And like, I would have loved like one bit for him, like, to just cross paths and be like, and they just swap knives or something. It's like, you know, Big John has the big knife, Little John has the little knife.
Like, I almost would have liked Big John. Like, I don't need a knife. I got this. Like, there's just there's so much they could have done with them, and it's annoying that they didn't. But then after they're dead, like, the movie just kind of ends. Like, it just sprints for the finish line after that. Like,
it really does.
And I'm glad we don't see
Lonnie's death. I'm glad we don't see Lonnie's death.
Yeah.
But my big thing, you know, because after they're dead, Lonnie brings Cameron and Allison here. I'm glad we don't see Lonnie's death, but I would rather see Lonnie's death if we don't see how gruesome Cameron's death is, because I think Cameron's death is probably the most gruesome. He gets stabbed, he gets his leg, or no, that's her, but then he gets put through the railing, and then he gets brought down on said railing, like, you know,
and then gets his neck snapped still.
Then he gets his neck, like, dude is just like, you know, yeah, he may have kissed another girl at a Halloween party, you know, he may be Lonnie, he does not deserve this. Just
I think he does. Like, cheaters are just disgusting people. Like, they should be.
You thought the eye gouge out was worse than that? Like, to me, dude was still living
but
and
Big John
breathing.
was a nice guy. I liked Big John.
Dude was still breathing after having his neck impaled through wood a couple
Yeah,
times.
but he
like,
deserved it. That's my point.
I'm more on Ryan's side with this one. That kill does feel like needlessly brutal, but
yes.
Yeah.
but that's a lot of this movie is needlessly brutal. So
Yeah,
It
that
is
I
what it
think
is.
that's the problem with this film. Like I said, like it lacks that sort of that element of fun in the other films. Like it's just needlessly brutal. And going back to that idea, like what we started saying about the Rob Zombie ones, like it means spirited as well.
It lets him go ham, but not in the best way possible.
yeah. Although
Yeah.
I will change my answer for everything we just said for the final mob killing.
For the mob
Yeah,
kill.
for the mob,
'cause-
it's fun again. Like it's kind of
Mhm.
like I don't know what it was. It's just like having that mob show up as this huge trap to kill Michael, and like we got it. There's 20 of us. There's only one of him. This is gonna be easy. Oh fuck, it's turning. Oh no.
well,
That-
yeah,
that's
and what greater way to start the mob killing with the killing of Lee Brackett? I mean,
Yeah.
a legacy character that was perfect. But I think just the lead up to that was perfect. The way Karen came to save her daughter with the pitchfork,
Yep.
to taking the mask off and saying, "Come and get it," to him almost like picking up the mask and being like, "All right, let's get this on," and then just going to town. And then he goes to town. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah.
It starts with a legacy character dying. It ends with a legacy character dying. I think they did it really, really well.
Yeah, I dig all of that last sequence. It's fun. It's way over the top. The kills are both brutal, but not like insanely brutal. It's more just like splashes of blood across the screen.
Yeah.
Like it's that sort of like, oh, this is that pulpy fun I was kind of hoping the whole movie was going to be.
Right.
And I've grown to hate Tommy so much throughout this movie that when the scene starts, I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna do a third one, because clearly they're not gonna kill Tommy in the end of this sequence. I think they're gonna assume Michael's dead by the end of this, and that's where my head's going. And then as it turns, I'm like, oh fuck, is Tommy not gonna make this either? And then nope. It's like, oh, good. More like stupid dies tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Michael went Negan on Tommy.
Yeah.
But this is what I meant when I said that I love a happy ending, because I was happy to see them all die. And it was a real nice exclamation point on a movie where you're forced to follow this mob that you're not pleased to be around most of the time.
And they all die. See, I thought you meant like him being able to stare out his window again and killing Karen to get there.
Yeah, I thought you just really hated Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't
thought
care.
so, too.
I don't care about Karen, but
Like, and that's the thing about Karen's death too.
Neither did Laurie from the sounds of that phone call either.
Yeah.
Right. But that's just it. Like, Karen had great character development in the first one to being just a lackey in this, and her death scene was horribly edited. There, we're talking about that. Like, it just if you're gonna show a movie that shows all these brutal deaths and you're gonna cop out by this for a death that actually has meaning, you're giving us a very cheap send off, and that's what it was. But I don't know.
And then it just ends. Like that's just it. You don't get anything from the death of that character until the next movie comes out. And even the next movie, they don't do a lot with Karen. Like, it's not like this horrible cloud hanging over their heads. It's more like, hey, do you remember when your mom died? Sure do. Moving on. Like, so
See? Even Laurie didn't care about Karen.
no one does. And poor Toby Huss is completely forgotten by the next movie. It's like, okay, I'm okay with it. I get it. But at the same time, it just doesn't really work. And it's kind of a bummer to end the movie on that.
It was a very cheap ending. I felt very robbed of that. And again, this is me trying to defend the movie, but like that is a horrible way to end the movie. You have all these brutal deaths, and you're going to slice together a horrible edited death scene of Karen getting sliced. And I just, a character we're supposed to have vested interest to that could possibly lead to a third movie, and they just dropped the ball completely.
Yeah,
My final note for this
realistically.
week. Go ahead, Joel.
No, I was gonna say they should have ended on the death
The mob.
battle.
Yep.
Yeah, that would have been the perfect cap to this.
And you could open. Granted,
Open with Karen's death.
Yeah,
That's
so you could open the next movie with Karen's death. That said, I really like the opening of the next movie. Like, it is one of the only openings to a horror movie that legitimately made me go like, "Oh fuck!"
Yep.
Like a very loud, audible "Oh fuck" was uttered when I watched the beginning of Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends is a much better film. I'm very excited to talk about it next week. It is a very different film. It is not the movie that has been advertised to you in any of the trailers. That is not this movie.
Right.
But that said, I really enjoyed the swings they took. I don't think they'll connect. I don't think there's a single home run hit in the entire thing, but they took bold choices and they actually made them work for the most part. And the movie clearly loves Christine, which I also really love. So there's all that in there. I'm getting very excited to talk about Halloween Ends and be done with Halloween Kills. Is there any other final notes people want to say about Halloween Kills?
I just wanted to, like, the ending to me, just, it seemed like I know we mentioned that it's like really cheap and everything like that. It felt like a really cheap way of, like, you know, the way that like TV does sometimes, where it's like, to be continued. Oh, you want to see what happens? You're gonna have to come back next season. Yeah. It just feels so much like, oh, you want to see what happens next? You want a complete story? Well, you're not getting that in this film. You have to come back for the next one. It's just like, it feels less of a creative decision, more of a marketing decision. And the minute you start putting marketing decisions into film, you're losing a lot of quality there, because it's not the creative people that are making the decision. It's marketing people are like, oh, well, we need to make sure they come back and watch this next one.
And that's a problem with where the next one goes, because that's the promises you're getting at the end of this movie. That's not where this next movie's going. Like it is a different film. Yeah. I still think it's good, and I'm excited to see what the two of you think, because it is, like I said, wildly different than this one. Still violent, still, you know, gooey, you know, violent fun, but it is
gooey.
There's a tongue kill, is all I'll say. It's one of my favorite kills in the entire movie. It's a good one. So I'm excited to talk about Halloween Ends, but before we get to that, we should do a round of plugs and then, you know, take a week off before that episode comes out, which is, you know, the most important thing.
Does someone get killed with a tongue? Or is the
I don't have to wait and see.
You'll have to wait and see. I've told you too much already.
I'm just thinking like someone gets stabbed with a tongue. It's like
I don't know if we're skipping favorite moments here, but I gotta shout one out here. Firefighter fight. The dude trying to use the fire hose.
Oh yeah,
to stop and kill him.
I was going to be my favorite moments. I'm glad you got us there.
Yeah.
I've forgotten about that. That is so good, though.
My favorite moment is just how they try to do homage, but when Lee Brackett goes, "Hey Michael, it's Halloween. Everybody's entitled to one good scare."
I hated that so
much. That line out.
Such
Jesus.
a fucking written line is that. It's so like it's a throwaway thing that he says.
And Charles
to
Cypress
Laurie.
is so old he doesn't know how to say it.
Yeah.
Charles Cypress probably was so old, he didn't even know what he was doing there. They probably pulled him out of a retirement home, the poor guy.
What am I doing today? Oh, you're reprising your role from Halloween. What's Halloween?
I want
to. Just sit down and say this. My favorite moment in this is really anything with Big John, Little John.
Yeah.
Really, if they're on screen, it's my favorite moment. They're great.
I can just see Charles Cypress going, I was already in Halloween too.
Yeah.
As somebody who watched Mad TV growing up, I was happy to see Michael McDonald did some work.
Yes. Matt, what was your favorite moment?
Again, it's like the Big John, Little John stuff is just brilliant. I think it's fantastic. Like I said earlier on, the bit where he's like, Big John, I've got this knife. Little John,
do you think that Big John and Little John were Danny McBride's responsibility?
Probably.
Yeah.
They're the funny parts. Danny Green's made funny movies before, so the horrors was actually a bit of a left turn for him. So
right,
we'll see.
I really like as well when they're clearing the house, they just keep every now and again going, Big John, Little John.
It's like Marco Polo.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, they're good. They should have been the movie, honestly. But either way, so if that's our favorite moments, it's time to say goodbye to this thing, isn't it? We're done with Halloween Kills. We killed it.
I'm done with it.
Yeah, I am. I don't think I'm going back. I think
Evil dies tonight. Sorry.
Oh,
Evil did not die.
No, it didn't. But
another
false advertising.
Promise. Yeah.
And
Evil dies tonight. Maybe.
That one girl had to be so proud of herself for saying something that became an entire mob's mantra of love lives today. Yeah, but evil dies tonight. And then they're saying it the rest of the night. She's like, I started that. That was me.
And then she realizes that a bunch of people died. She's like, I better leave town.
Yeah, they all died.
I better go.
I'm going to move to Chicago.
She's like, oh, yeah, I'm so good at marketing. You know that Evil dies tonight? I started that. 50 people died because of that. Yeah, but I started it.
Yeah, they were evil.
They were clearly the evil ones because evil died that night.
Which sure did. All right, let's do a quick round of plugs and we're gonna say goodbye. For this show, every other show in the ATH Network, be sure to check out athpod.com, which shows shows like this, Demon Days, Damage Boost, and Joel Show.
Afterthoughts book club with my wife, English teacher. Listen, Super GG Radio, video game podcast, play Vampire Survivors.
You can catch me on the Front Row Network, Flashbacks, where we talk about movies about the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. I'm also the award show guru at the Front Row, so all award show coverage done by me. And you can catch Joel and I on every other episode of the Last of Us podcast, the Podcast of Us.
Matt?
Butt plugs. That's all this fucking film deserves.
Plug in butt plugs. I get it. That's fine. All right, so tune in next week when we talk about Halloween Ends. I'm very excited to talk about that movie. I've already actually done it once with Ryan. I recorded that podcast from Brazil. So don't listen to that if you don't want to be spoiled for my opinions in the next week's episode. And after that, we're going to do a whole different show. And I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, even though I think I might have already. But I will say the name. This will be the final thing I'm saying. The name of the next show is called The Fate We Make. So that's
Right.
about.
I know what it's about.
Does somebody need to die before we cut to black?
You just don't.
We're doing the Nightmare on Elm Street films. Please, no.
Hey,
Let's not do
that's
Splasher and Slasher.
say the Nightmare on Elm Street might happen at some point, but definitely not back to back. God no.
I need
All
a
right.
break.
Well, our next franchise will still have a lot of death, but it'll be much better death.
Will it?
Kinda. All right, so thank you everyone for listening, and goodbye. Bye. 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 Bye.
Sayonara.
Goodbye.
Evil dies tonight.
tonight.